Hello everybody, I'm Jackie Fox and this is Pokemon Go Fight Club. So today we're going to be talking about raids, so let's talk about that stuff now. Okay, so first let's talk about raids. I got to partake in my first raid earlier today. I'm going to be putting some footage of that over here. And what I really liked about the raid was that it was fun. It provided a cool challenge. It made me feel pretty awesome. Unfortunately, I only went in a level 1 raid. They go up to level 4 and there's kind of a 5th tier for legendary that hasn't really been unlocked yet. But let's talk about how raids work first of all. So you will get a notification on your screen like you would for a Pokemon that would be appearing nearby, kind of in the sightings menu. It's a separate tab. Or you just, like I did, I happened to be at a gym that I was already interacting with and I noticed that there was an upcoming raid in about 45 minutes. It looks like it will tell you about an hour ahead of time. So you'll have time to kind of gather up some friends, to get on your social networks and encourage people to come out to a specific location and raid with you. So that's good. That's going to help build groups. It's also notifying people that there are active raids nearby or people fighting in raids nearby. Up to 20 players can form a group once the gym turns into a raid. 20 players can go in at one time. You can also have multiple groups go in. You can have a private group, but I didn't have anybody out here with me, so I didn't really get a chance to try out the private group. But it seems like that would work kind of the way you would imagine it would. You just pick the people who go in with you. So after spending a raid pass, which you can get one of per day, which is a little bit of a problem that I have. This is a fun system, and I think I should be able to participate more than once per day. You have access. You're going to be in a lobby, you'll have about 2 minutes, and it's going to be actively notifying the players around you who are playing to try to get them to your location so that they will join you in the raid. And then after a couple minutes, you'll go in. So as I said, I did a level 1 raid. I did it basically by myself. I did have a player jump in towards the end of my fight, but it was only like 30 seconds. So that guy got out there pretty quickly. It was about 2.5 minutes that he may have had to know that I was fighting in there and backed me up. Got a Blastoise in there right at the end of the fight, but I really didn't need it. It was a pretty simple fight. Now, there was concern, there was a Forbes article actually that said that raids might be too powerful for people to be able to participate in if you didn't have 10 to 20 people, since that's what they're designed for. Now, I kind of agree with that. 10 to 20 people is kind of what you're going to need to take down like the bigger like level 4 and legendary raids. But I don't think that it's really going to prove to be too difficult overall long term. But it's definitely something that's going to be better with friends, better with people on your team or people on other teams, because we can have raid parties that span all 3 teams, can participate at once. So hopefully that'll ease a little bit of the division that we've been seeing so far in the game. If you're successful, you can get a lot of different rewards, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about these later. All sorts of special items that can only be earned during raids. You'll also, depending on how well you did and if your team helped out, you'll get a certain number of Premier Balls. Premier Balls are exclusively for catching the raid Pokemon, and you will get a chance to catch whatever you raided against at a normal level of CP. So we still don't know if these Pokemon are going to have better stats or better IVs than most other Pokemon or other ways that you would catch the similar Pokemon. But the Quilava that I got in the raid that I went to did not have like top tier stats. It was not above 80% IVs, but it was pretty close. And it was also at level 20. So just in theory, I'm thinking that raid Pokemon are probably going to be about equivalent to what this same Pokemon would be if it hatched out of an egg, except that you can get evolved Pokemon from raids. Another thing to point out is that the gym itself will be inactive for that entire hour. So if you happen to control the gym, your Pokemon will be safe for an hour. No one can knock them out because anyone interacting with that gym for that hour will have to participate in the raid. They won't be able to attack the Pokemon that are in the gym. So that's going to lock down gyms for an extra hour, which could be kind of beneficial to people, because that is a chance for you to get at least 6 coins out of them. So as far as Okay, so the special items that you can get are pretty cool. We have rare candies, which when used will turn into a candy of a Pokemon species of your choice. I would say to save these for rarer stuff. Like, I'm not sure if I really want, I'm thinking maybe Chansey candy out of mine. I still haven't caught a Mareep yet. I really want an Ampharos. So maybe I could turn it into a Mareep candy. Maybe I could turn it into a Larvitar candy because I don't have a Tyranitar yet either. But I have a lot of options. And I'm not really sure how I want to spin my rare candy yet. So I'm just going to hold on to that until I need like just one more candy to level something up or one more candy to evolve something. And then I'll just use it on whatever. It seems like this is a pretty common item to get from raids. So I'm hoping I'll build up a little bit more of a stockpile. There's also golden raspberries, which will fully heal the motivation of a Pokemon in a gym. I think that's what I'm going to save mine for. You know, just wait until it's almost all the way down, then just build it all the way back up. They're also basically really, really strong raspberries if used while catching a Pokemon, so that's pretty cool as well. You also get TMs, which is something that we've been really excited about since we heard about it in a data dump. TMs come in either the fast or charged variety, and they will change one move of a Pokemon you have into one of the moves that is available in its current move pool. So, let's say you have a Steel Wing Dragonite, and you don't really want a defensive Dragonite anymore, you want it to be an offensive Dragonite, you can switch it. You can use that TM and hope you get Dragon Tail, although it will be randomly selected from the possible moves in its move pool. So maybe you won't get what you want, but it is a good chance to improve the moves on a Pokemon. And I'm really excited about that. There's also Premier Balls, which it does not look like you get to keep after the raid, but those are the only Pokeballs you will have to catch the raid Pokemon. So the more that you earn during a raid, the better, because that means more chances you get to catch the raid Pokemon. They don't seem to be all that great. They are probably equivalent about to a Pokeball. That's what it seems like. They're not even quite Great Ball quality. So it seems like, unless other mechanics are introduced, like maybe Master Balls or other type of special balls, legendary Pokemon are probably going to be really hard to catch. Like, just absolutely ridiculous. Although a fight with a legendary Pokemon being a more prestigious battle may reward you with a lot more Premier Balls. So we'll have to see how that works when it comes out. But if anybody has had a chance to catch a Tyranitar from a raid or something kind of equivalent to that in difficulty to catch, I would like to know how hard you thought it was to catch it just with Premier Balls, or if there are any other type of mechanics, or maybe how many Premier Balls you got for catching, for defeating it. How many chances you got to catch that Tyranitar. Was it easy? Was it hard? Tell me what you think in the comments. You also get a ton of XP. Now, I got about 3,000 for beating a 5,000 CP Quilava, which is pretty awesome. I mean, that's quite a lot of points for something that was actually relatively simple and something that I could do in 30 seconds. One thing that I want to get into while we're talking about raids is this article that I read from Forbes, which has actually been doing some pretty solid Pokemon Go reporting since they picked that up, that says that raid battles may actually be too difficult to be practical, in that it may be too hard for the kind of size of groups of players that you're typically going to see to actually be able to win a raid battle. So I've been testing this out. I've done 2 raids so far. The first was against a Quilava. That was a level 1 raid, and I beat it in 30 seconds. by myself, basically. Somebody jumped in at the end, but they didn't contribute a lot of damage, and I really had that one within 40 seconds regardless. But my second raid was a level 3 raid against a Vaporeon, which is already well known as a good defender. It had Hydro Pump, so it had a pretty good defensive moveset for knocking my Pokemon down quickly. And even though I didn't burn through all 6 within the time limit, it was pretty much going to be impossible for me to solo that. I mean, I'm sure if I tweaked it and got all the right Pokemon in there and really went for some stuff that was maybe even higher DPS, like, you know, really had absolutely the right picks, I could have beat it within the time limit. But let's say it's almost impossible to, at least against that particular Pokemon, to solo a level 3 raid, even at level 34, which a lot of players aren't going to be at. So it's going to be difficult to solo higher level raids. But of course, you know, we kind of already expected that. That was something that, you know, we definitely saw coming as a community. Now, the suggestion for the Quilava was that I have 5 players in my raiding party. The suggestion for the Vaporeon was that I have 14. Now, honestly, if I had had maybe a player at level, even the minimum level right now for raids, which is 25, even a level 25 player assisting me in that probably could have helped me take that thing down in time. It wasn't super close, but it was close enough that that little extra bit of damage would have pushed it through. So I'm thinking that even the really high level, like legendary raids, aren't going to require 20 people. That would certainly make it a lot easier. That would certainly make it possible for a team of 20 level 25 players or level 20 players to take down, say, a legendary bird or something, but I don't think it's going to be as difficult as the writer of this article is imagining. Because I didn't find it to be incredibly difficult myself. Sure, it was a challenge, and with 2 players I could have taken down the level 3, maybe it'll take me 3 or 4 players to take down a level 4, and maybe 5 or 6 players of around my level to take down a legendary, but that seems perfectly reasonable, and I think that for those things I could get that many people out. I mean, if you tell people that there's going to be a Mewtwo that's going to be catchable within 30 minutes to an hour, I'm pretty sure you can find 5 or 6 high-level players that want to get in on that. So I don't think it's going to be as challenging as the article assumes. And I think that it's probably pretty well balanced. I think that it's going to be a really enjoyable system that I look forward to. And it's going to definitely encourage players to play with other players, even if they hadn't been doing so before. It's really going to encourage a lot more teamwork. And that's something that Niantic really wants. And I think that in the way that this is implemented is going to be very doable. Now, one misconception that I had going into this fight that made me think that I would easily be able to solo it is I thought that after my first round, after I healed and came back, the dent that I put in its HP would still be there. I'd just be able to finish it off. But that is certainly not the case. You have to beat it within the time limit from full health to 0, even if you fought it before in that hour. So keep that in mind.